I'm Ayame Mochizuki. And as Mr. Salman introduced me, I am a Japanese high school student, and I go to an English immersion school. I'm 16 years old, and I'm in my sophomore year of my high school. I have been taking part in the internship of NICE Tanzania since the end of December 2021. And I researched about challenges faced in school administration in Tanzania. And I also studied about how to manage schools as a business. So I will share my screen for my presentation. So today I hope I can share what I learned through my intern to support you, to support school administrators in incorporating business in school administration and empowering schools to have better education and services for students. I will first like to start by explaining the current problems that are commonly faced in school administration and the consequences they have based on what I researched. Many administrative problems lead to lowering the academic performance of students. And the three main problems that are common are: one, poor budget management; two, shortage of teachers; and three, over-enrollment of pupils. And I would like to elaborate on each problem and how each problem has several negative consequences. First, on poor budget management. One consequence it may have is lack of teaching and learning resources. Without necessary materials to conduct lessons and to study in classrooms, this may hinder the education in classrooms. Another consequence is shortage of infrastructure, including washrooms, teachers' houses, and staff rooms. This could affect the comfortable working and learning environment at school, and it may make it difficult for some students and teachers to work comfortably and improve their learning at school. The third consequence is delayed promotion and low salary payments. This may lower teachers' motivation and performance, as they may feel that they are not getting the reward they deserve for their work. And it also may lead to teachers taking part in side jobs if they do not get enough money to make a living. If teachers start taking part in side jobs, this could have a serious effect on the students' learning, as the teacher may not be available during school hours to teach, which would lower their performance in teaching. The next problem is the shortage of teachers. This could cause a high teaching load for teachers, in which the teacher would have to teach many classes alone. This could lower the teacher's motivation and performance if the teacher feels that he or she is having too much work to do. Also, it could lower their performance because the amount of time they can use to prepare for a lesson would decrease as they have more classes to teach. Another problem is the over-enrollment of pupils, which would lead to a high student-teacher ratio, which would mean that one teacher would have to teach many students. This could cause various discipline, instructional, physical, and assessment problems. With many students in the classroom, the teacher may have more difficulty getting a hold of what is occurring in the classroom and making sure that the classroom is in control. Also, it may be more difficult for the teacher to check whether each student has a substantial understanding of the material learned during class. Also, it may be physically difficult to conduct lessons if there are too many students and the classrooms are not large enough to hold all the students. This is a diagram that organizes all the major problems that I listed. And as you can see here, The main cause of all these major problems is poor accountabilities and leadership among school administrators, especially for policy implementation. Therefore, arranging policies and systems is essential to effective school administration. And in order to arrange systems and policies effectively, creating a business plan could be a potential solution, whether you want to use it for your own management or for sharing to others, for example, when requesting funds to investors. So I would like to explain the basic structure and content of the business plan. There are 7 main sections to the business plan, and they are the following. First comes the executive summary. Second, the school description. Third, the school situation analysis. Fourth, the organization and management. Number 5, promotion strategy. Number 6, financial plan. And finally, number 7, financial management policy. Now, I would like to explain each section in more detail. First, the executive summary is a summary of the entire business plan. This would explain the main contents of the business plan. First, you would briefly explain about your school, including information such as your school identity, core values, vision statement, and your objectives and goals in education. Also, you would probably want to include your basic information of school administrators and the location of your school, especially if you want to use your business plan for sharing with others. Then you would include a brief analysis of the issues you are facing, such as the ones that I listed before, and briefly explain solutions for those issues. And then you would explain the benefits for those solutions. The executive summary would be written last, after you've decided all the other contents of your business plan, as it would be the summary of the business plan. The second section is the school description, where you would include more details about your school. This could include the following information: curriculum or subjects that you offer, an example of a daily schedule for students, class size, as this would also be important when determining how many students will enroll and to avoid over-enrollment of pupils. Also, you would want to include information on admission and enrollment, again, to avoid over-enrollment of pupils. You could also include information on your strengths, as it would help, as you would know what kind of points you would like to appeal to your students and to the investors if you're going to share this business plan to others. The third section is school situation analysis. In this section, you would explain the successes and the problems you're facing and present potential solutions to those problems. First comes the analysis of the present state. You would write your strengths and successes in your schools, as well as your problems and challenges. Then you would conduct a market analysis in which you would analyze the influences, both internal and external influences that your school would have. The internal influences would include analyzing about your students, parents, and general public. This would mean that you would understand and have a better understanding of the needs and trends that these communities are having. Second is, the second part is that you would analyze political, economical, social, and technological influences, also known as the PEST analysis. And here you would analyze the outer influences that your school may have. For example, are there any policies or new laws that were enacted in the government? Is the economy going well or not? What kind of social problems and trends are now focused nowadays, and what kind of software or new pieces of technology could be potentially used in the classroom. These are some kind of examples that you may want to analyze in your test analysis. Then you would also describe the market size, which would mean your assumption on how many students could potentially join your school. Then you would explain and present some solutions to the problems that you showed in this section here on the analysis of present state, and explain the benefits to those solutions. Then the fourth section is organization and management. Here you would first, in this section, you would explain how you're going to actually manage and organize your school in order to put those solutions that you mentioned in the last section into action. First, you would prepare a management plan, which would include goals and an action plan for executing the business plan or the solutions that you mentioned in the last section. You would also probably include the structure of your school faculty or the roles of your teachers. This is a overly simplified diagram of a structure, but what diagram of the structure basically needs is, first you would write the person who is in charge of everything at the top, which would most likely be the principal or maybe the head teacher. And then you would write here each department, each subdivisions that your school may have, and write the person who is most in charge of those subdivisions. Then if there are even more divisions in those departments, you would list those down there and list the teachers who are in charge of each subdivision or department. Next is policies and guidelines. There are two main policies that are listed. Of course, these are merely examples. There could be many more policies to be included in your business plan, but here are some important ones that I listed for this template. The first is the management policy, in which you would explain how you would manage students, teachers, and administrators. For students, here are some details that you might want to include. First is admission and withdrawal. Here you would explain the procedures or requirements for admission and withdrawal so that you would be able to assume how many students will be enrolled in your school, which would avoid over-enrollment of pupils. Also, it would make the number of students more stable if you have a clear procedure for withdrawal of students. For the next part, class size, deciding a class size beforehand would help, again, avoid over-enrollment and would help improve the efficiency of learning at school. This third section for the rules for students, this section may not be necessary if your business plan is for sharing to others. But if you're creating a business plan for your own management, this may be a good place to put it. Here are some examples of rules that you may want to include. Rights and responsibilities of students as students in the school, and school life regulations, including rules on attendance, school health, such as procedures when a student gets a contagious disease or gets into an accident. This part may be especially important nowadays with the situation of COVID. Another aspect would be student safety and safe commuting. It's to ensure that the student can commute to school and spend time safely at school. And finally, school life, including rules on dress code and device use. The next section is about faculty and staff. This would potentially include information on employment and resignation or information on the contract of the teachers. This is similar to the part for admission and withdrawal for the students. It would help determine a set of procedures in order to employ teachers or for them to resign. Next would be the basic policies. One aspect of that would be side businesses. Making clear rules on that would help school administrators ensure that the teachers are doing their job properly, while also making sure that they're making a living. Also, determining working hours, for example, minimum and maximum working hours, would make sure that the teachers are working enough but not working too much, which may help increase sustain the teachers' motivation and avoid overworking for them. Also, you may want to include some policies on teaching and discipline. This would make it easier for teachers as they would know some guidelines for teaching and teaching in the classroom. And finally, you could also include several responsibilities, such as the ones that may be included in the diagram of the structure of faculty. These are some examples. Of course, there could be many more policies that you may want to include here. Third part is on promotion, and by including the requirements and clarifying the requirements for a promotion, for example, this could potentially increase the teacher's motivation as they would know that they could work towards receiving a promotion and raising their salary. And finally, for administration, you would write procedures to ensure that the school is managed properly. School is managed properly by the school administrators. The second policy is the infrastructure management policy, in which procedures and guidelines would be determined to ensure that the infrastructure at your school is managed properly and safely. This could include information on security, technology, innovation, maintenance, for example, for buildings, school buildings, and teaching and learning tools. The fifth section is the promotion strategy. This would include information on how to promote your school in order to gather students. First, you would determine your target community. This would be especially important for private schools, as they would need to differentiate their schools from other private schools or public schools. And you would determine in your target community what kind of students you are aiming to invite, and what region, for example, of students you are hoping would enroll into your school. Then you would explain how to actually get students to enroll in your school and how to improve visibility so that more students would know about your school and that more students would be able to have interest in the school. Then you would explain how the school will increase size over time. Again, this is since school should, in order to manage your school as a business, it is important to think about your profits. Therefore, it is important to think about how your school will increase size over time, which would allow you to have more profits to use, and you will be able to use that money to improve your service to the students. And finally, you may want to include information on how to improve branding, again, to determine and clarify what kind of strengths and qualities your schools have and what makes your school unique from others. The sixth section is the financial plan, where you would manage how much money is going in and out of your school. The first part is financial projections or cash flow. First, you would list your source of income or your revenue. Since for schools, your main source of income would probably be school fees, you would write your school fees and multiply it by the number of students that are enrolled in your school. You would also may want to list other sources of income, including, for example, donations and funds from other organizations or the community. The second part would be expenditures. There are three types of expenditures: fixed costs, variable costs, and quasi-fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that are not influenced by the number of students. This would include costs for example, infrastructure, as in buildings, utilities, and land, as well as the amortization of debt services. Variable costs, on the other hand, are costs that are influenced by the number of students that are enrolled, as well as the number of personnel and staff. This would include costs for learning resources, as each student would probably have their own materials, software licenses, salaries and benefits for school personnel, and supplies for food services at your school. And finally, quasi-fixed costs are costs that are partially fixed but partially variable. What I mean by this is that these costs change when the number of students exceeds a certain amount. For example, if there are 30 students, between 30 students and 35 students, the difference is not significant enough to change these costs. However, if the number of students is changed from 30 students to 60 students, this would be a difference big enough to influence these costs. These costs could include the employment of teachers, administrative personnel, and staff, administrative services, transportation of students, as well as other equipment or supplies. Finally, you would explain and list the profits that you would get by subtracting the expenditure from your income. Then you would write your cash flow statement, which explains whether the profits are positive or negative, whether you're in the red or in the black. This is a template that I created for managing cash flow. Here, I hope you can see this. In this part, for transactions, for example, you would write what kind of all the money that you used or the money you gained. And you would also clarify the dates in order to keep track of when and how you used or gained money. And then the information, you would also write the amount of money here. Then this information would be reflected on this page, profit and loss. For example, it would write the incomes here, and then also list them here based on fixed costs, variable costs, quasi-fixed costs, such as in this way. And then this would automatically calculate the total expenditure, and based on the information of the total income here, it will use this information to calculate the total profit or loss. For example, for January, here the total income is 800, but the total expenditure is 1,700. So it would be a loss of 900. And the list goes on in this way. Also, it could be used to determine growth rates. You could also add categories. These are some of the categories that I included. Of course, these are simply examples, so there are many more. But you would be able to categorize your sources of income or sources of expenditure to make sure that you can manage your cash flow properly and effectively. And these are just an example for a template? Yes, okay. So the next part is the financial assumptions, where you would list the information necessary to assume how much income and expenditure you would have. First, you would list the number of students or faculty, and then you would also include information on the amount of money you currently have, and you would also list your source of income. Based on these pieces of information, you would predict your expected income and expenditure. And finally, here you would write your request for funds, especially if you're going to use this business plan to share for others, for example, for investors. You would write your purpose for requesting the funds and the amount of money you would like to request. Then you would explain how the fund will be used. And finally, the last section is financial management policy. These are a set of guidelines and procedures to make sure that the money at your school is managed properly and effectively to the benefit of your school. First, you would assign authority to the teachers. You would need to clarify which teachers or administrators are in charge of which aspects of financial management. For example, one could be in charge of creating the budget. Then you would list the responsibilities of those in the authority listed in the previous part here. So, anyway, in number 1, assignment of authority. Then you would explain rules on financial transactions to make sure that your money is not wasted and that it is used purely to the benefit of the school. And also it would help manage your money better because it might make it easier to keep track of all the transactions that are going on. Then you would list the process of deciding the budget plan. This is important because the budget plan determines how much money would be used on which part of your school. For example, you would need this to manage the amount of money you already have or the money you would potentially gain. Then you would also list your payments, your income, and finally, cash management, as in how your cash would be managed. Now, I would like to explain the benefits of actually creating a business plan. These are the 4 benefits that I've listed. I believe that these 4 are the most significant benefits that creating a business plan offers, whether it is for your own management or for sharing to others. The first benefit is that it helps visualize problems and causes. As shown in the 3rd section, score analysis situation, you would be able to list some of the problems or issues that your school is facing. And by actually listing down what strengths and problems and the systems that your school currently has, you would be able to clearly understand what the problems are and how they are related to which causes. By understanding these causes and problems, you'd be able to have it would be easier for you to tackle these problems. Second, creating a business plan verbalizes the features of your school. This is especially in the school description, section 2. Although the teachers may vaguely know what kind of strengths their school have or what kind of values their school has, it is always important to make sure that all the teachers have the same idea or standardized understanding on the school in order to maximize the efficiency of education at your school. It would also be useful as you would clearly know which points that you would want to appeal to others, especially for admission or requesting for funds. Third, it would clarify the policies and procedures. Although schools may have a set of policies and procedures, there may be cases in that they're only told orally and not actually recorded on documents. By actually clarifying the policies and procedures on a document, it would make it easier for the teachers to understand them, and therefore the policies would, more teachers would follow those policies, which would improve the education and learning at your school. Also, it would make it easier to make sure that all the teachers know it, especially the new teachers, as you wouldn't have to explain everything over and over again. And finally, creating a business plan is beneficial because it can be referred to and revised over repeatedly. As I mentioned earlier, just having your information orally will not make the information clarified to all the teachers or staff or other people outside of school. Therefore, creating a business plan will make the business plan a document that could be referred to by many people. And also, if you would like to create changes on the policies or procedures or any other aspect in the business plan, it could be revised over. Therefore, that is why it is important to create a business plan. This is the end of my presentation. I hope that the information I shared with you would help incorporate business and school administration and empower your school from a service into a business that could gain profits to improve profits that could be used to improve more service at your school and improve the education for your students. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ayame. I heard somewhere saying thank you in Japanese, saying kansha. Is it right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I give this opportunity. I think we listened clearly. Because we have limited time. Let me throw the chance to the few participants who joined. If there is anyone with a question, Ayame will be able to assist us and also myself, maybe if I'll be required to respond on it. But I think we have got an insightful presentation from Ayame. So the floor is yours, Brother Ali, Sister Majabu, or Brother Juma, if you have anything to ask or to add on top of what has been presented, you are welcome. Yes, Brother Ali.
Now, thank you very much, Brother Suleiman and Madam Ayame, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have any addition for the time being, but I'm waiting for the presentation to be shared so as I can go deep on this one. I'm happy on this one. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, brother. Sister Majabu, you have anything to ask, to add?
Well, I have nothing to add, but just that is first of all the nice presentation, and also I have got a new idea concerning about the business planning in the school. Actually, generally, what we are supposing to do is a matter of implementing and make sure that we are improving our school through the knowledge we have obtained for today. Thank you, sister from Japan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brother Juma, are you there? You have anything to add? Okay, actually, brothers and sisters, from what we have received, shared, this is the insightful. The aim of this presentation was, first of all, to help Sister Ayame on exploring and the correlation, because she have interest in the business management, although she's from the education background. So she tried to learn Tanzania situation and try to share something regarding our existing situation. So our role, we as Nice Tanzania, is we are promising, to take this initiative from here, to make it insightful and share with the majority for those who felt that they will benefit and they help them. But also this can give an eye-opening, for us to explore more. and to try to transform our schools from the existing what we are doing like a normal business. I mean, the normal social savings provision, to transform it into the business perspective, so that we can grow our school like the other business. Because you know, the schools, I mean, the business, we see the business people are growing, their business is growing from one stage to another. But why not our school? Because maybe we are not transforming, I mean, we are not translating, and we are not running our school as a business. So Sister Ayame, she has come to share with us an insightful on how to do it. We'll make sure, I mean, we are going to share with you who has attended this presentation. We are going to share with you this presentation, and also we are going to share the records with the rest who have not attended. I don't have anything to add. Thank you again, Ayame, for your time. I don't know if you have anything to add on top of what you have presented, or anything from, I mean, the last year since we started our session with Nice Tanzania. Up today, we are going to, I mean, it's not, we are hoping that's not going to be an end. Maybe we will get another time in the near future, maybe in the future, to share with us anything else which you feel that will be benefit to you as well to us. You are. So if you have anything to add.
I have nothing to add, but I would just like to thank everyone that joined this session today, for allowing, for giving me an opportunity to present what I have learned. And I simply hope that my presentation was insightful in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully we are going, for those who joined late, actually we are winding our session. We will try to keep in contact with me or with Nice Tanzania, and then we'll be able to share this presentation, this video recording, as well with some templates which have been shared by Sister Ayame for your consumption and also for your expansion to support your school. Allow me to end this meeting, I mean this session. And hopefully after a few minutes of rendering and recording, I'll be able to share this presentation with the rest. Thank you again for your time.